Hi everyone, Shortlad here. To say that Gundam AGE Universe XL and Gundam AGE Cosmic Drive have a lot of units would be a gross understatement. Granted, with a lot of these, we're mostly talking simpler recolors. Even then, that's still 162 units within the base roster, including the unplayable ones, plus additional 15 units each in either of the two games, hailing from Mobile Suit Gundam, Zeta, Char's Counterattack, Unicorn, Seed, Seed Destiny, 00, and Trailblazer respectively. And as far as most playable units go, you either get them via story progression, researching their blueprints, and subsequently 3D printing them via the AGE system. In the case of things like the Clanch, Desperado, Xeno, and Genoese 2, you simply buy them from the shops. Even the guest units aren't super difficult to acquire. You just go through the various crossplay mission stages, grabbing the so-called technology materials with the DB prefix, followed by the unit's model name along the way. Where it gets a bit less straightforward is with the blueprint for the G Bouncer Deos, a mobile suit that was originally piloted by Spriggan in the anime. Obtaining that one is bound to give you quite the leg up in the post-game, hence I decided to cover it. What you have to do to get this one is to reopen the story mode once you've beaten the main story at least once. Since both the story mode and the crossplay mission mode share their save data, you can and absolutely should bring some of your stronger stuff to this one. And I'm talking things that let you run 8 to 9 star difficulty missions with ease, ideally with items like repair kits. Now, what you'll want to do after loading in, gearing up, and pushing select to access the big map of locations is to pay a visit to these 3 locations: Minsry, Tordia, and Olivernodes. Throughout the course of the main story, you may have stumbled upon these little red dots on the world map and found out that you can do some simulator battles on the side. These are called MSG, or Mobile Suit Simulator Gadget Battles. For the purpose of this video, we're seeking out 3 specific ones, which drop components for the G Bouncer Deos, and you're gonna need one of each type to make the unit's blueprint. Deos Technology Alpha part drops from the MSG battle at the Minsry colony, specifically the Burming's mansion. Go upstairs, a bit to the right, and you'll see a guy with a blue tuxedo. Challenge him and his Kronos A, Dorado, and Deagle to get the first part. After that, travel to the Tordia colony. Go to school, then turn right once you're next to the school entrance, leading you to the garage. Defeat the kid in the school uniform and his Garaga S, Egos, and Denazine PH in order to claim the Deos Technology Beta. Lastly, make your way to the Olivernodes. This area's hill zone, simply titled the Piolium Hill, is where you should be headed. Run up the stairs until you encounter a blonde woman in a magenta suit. She'll be your opponent. Well, her and her Tielva Monarch, Claude and Egos that is, standing in the way between you and the Deos Technology Gamma part. Once you have one of each, pull up the AGE system menu, pick the top option, and scroll until you have found the blueprint recipe for the G Bouncer Deos, where you can unlock it with ease. As for manufacturing the unit itself, the materials for it drop from 6-star difficulty missions, which shouldn't be much of an issue, considering the equipment you've likely attained along the way. Besides, you can grind those on the Luna basis MSG battles and in the crossplay missions. Now, what you eventually get for your trouble is a set of 3 8-star parts: the core, arms, and legs for the G Bouncer Deos, with the whole set providing you with 410 armor, 205 energy, an SP gauge cap of 8, melee and shooting stat values of 390, 380 in defense, B tier mobility, C tier physical defense, and B tier beam defense. All in all, it makes for a great upgrade to the AGE effects, at least in terms of general stats. FX is a bit faster, has better defense, and comes with both the C funnels and the FX mode, but doesn't possess the raw stats and has a smaller SP gauge cap. Another aspect which makes the Deos pretty handy is when you run twin-bladed weapons as your melee, giving you a unique skill titled the Wolf Fang. It only costs you 2 SP, and despite being on the cheaper side, the damage is a lot higher than you'd expect, making for a decent semi-spammable skill to use against stronger jobber units, especially on higher difficulties. It only works with twin blades, so keep that in mind in case you want to run lances, hammers, or polearms. In case you're curious, yes, this skill is a holdover from the G-Exes, G Bouncer, and their variants. The only one from that line that does not get it is the Jack Edge. If there's any downsides to this one, I'd only list the fact that if you wish to recreate its original loadout, you'll be somewhat limited by the weaker equipment, since it inherits the rifle from the standard G Bouncer, which is very much a pea shooter at that point. You can probably use the beam rifle from the Tielva as a stronger substitute, especially since it's pretty much a slightly more energy efficient upgrade to the Stangle rifle on the HFX in terms of stats. Where it does get tricky is with the twin beam sabers, since the standard G Bouncer itself inherits those from the G-Exes, which aren't very viable at that point. Though if you do insist on keeping close to the canonical loadout, just borrow the twin beam sabers free from the H3 normal. Otherwise, you can either go with the single blade of the Tielva or stick with whatever does the job good enough for the time being. Coupled with the fact that it can be accessed relatively early on, provided you came prepared for the free MSG fights, not to mention the fact that you don't need 8-star materials to manufacture it, the G Bouncer Deos makes for a solid addition to one's post-game roster. Hopefully, this has been either helpful or somewhat informative. Personally, I do like the color scheme, and in a way, the unit's performance in-game definitely makes up for its untimely demise in the anime. Anyways, that's enough of me geeking out about Gundam AGE games. I'll see you in the next one, so until then, this has been the Shirt Lad, signing out.